and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts, and it's time for Dawn and Julia Create. I am so excited. I'm more excited because I know how excited Dawn is, and I'm desperate to see what she's done with this. So today we are making up this kit, a Steampunk Owl. So this is a Mad Hatter's MDF kit, and it's in my shop, and I only bought it for my shop because I knew Dawn would love it. And so I kept saying, just wait, the challenge is coming, the challenge is coming. And I was like, you're going to love it, you're going to love it. And then eventually when it did arrive, she was like, oh, I love you. So I'm glad. So it's a huge kit. I mean, obviously I bought it for the shop, but, you know, I didn't actually appreciate until it came just how massive this kit is and how much MDF is actually in it. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's honestly absolutely huge. So, yeah, we have no brief other than to make up this kit because I genuinely just wanted to see what would happen if we took it in its own direction. Look, there's masses of it. Right, let me show you this. That cog, I need to put both hands out to fit it. Like, it's bigger than, it's just huge. And then this one here, like, I mean, it's crazy, and there's so much detail in it. So I am going to prep some of this. I'm not going to do all of it on camera because it will take forever. And then we've also got the owl, which I'm not going to open yet because it's got, I don't know, where's the picture? It's got layer upon layer. So you've got the main owl shape, and then you've got 3 or 4 layers to build up this bit, and each of those little bits on the owl is a separate MDF piece there. So there's lots that could possibly get lost, so I'm going to do that separate. I think I want to go black with all the cogs because I really love creating a patina effect. So I'm going to put black gesso on these. So this one I'm just going to put straight black gesso, but on some of these cogs I'm going to get a bit of texture paste on it first, just so that I can really build up a fabulous, I mean, just look at that, it's just, oh, I love it. So I can build up quite a bit of texture, and I love creating the patina effect. I mean, that is just a packet of cogs that you know, comes with it as embellishments. And it fills my desk. Honestly, it's a crazy amount of MDF. Right, so I need to grab a palette knife. I thought I had one right in front of me. So there's going to be quite a bit of prep in this, so I'm not going to do it all with you, and it's also why I'm getting started early. I'm going to use my marble texture piece. This is one of my favourite. I mean, look at that. It is so thick, it's ridiculous. You can actually hear it crunch. And it's one of my favouriteest texture piece for creating steampunk. I just think for the rusty hinge patina effect, it works amazingly well. So I'm just going to grab bits of it and splatter it on, and of course this I'm going to then have to wait until tomorrow. Well, it's quite late now, it's 8:30, so yeah, I will be waiting until tomorrow for this to dry. So I've got quite a bit of prep to do. I'm prepping a show. I'm trying to think, I think this will come first before my show. So I've got quite a bit of prep to do. So this I'm sort of building in between doing all the prep, because there's going to be lots of drying times and bits and pieces like that. So as I said, I reckon Dawn will black gesso, and she will get her metallic paints out. But do you know, the amount of times that sometimes we're working on a project and I just think, oh, if I could just have a bit of gilding wax, or oh, if I could just have a bit of this. And I really didn't want that with this project, partly because I knew how much Dawn would absolutely love it. I mean, honestly, steampunk and owls. It was just, I just absolutely had to. I wasn't even I wasn't even intending on buying this for the shop. Because yeah, the only reason I bought it in was for Dawn, and as soon as the stock went live, it sold out within about 15 minutes. So I've got more on order. It should be live in the shop by the time this goes live. It better be. Right, so Yeah, so I'm glad. I'm glad. And as I said, it was so worth Dawn's reaction. So yeah, I am just going to carry on doing this. Once that is all dry, I will then gesso it all black. I'm going to gesso this black because I'm thinking that I'm going to possibly get gilding wax and bits and pieces on that. And I'm going to gesso the owl white purely because I want to create quite a bright, funky owl. And I think having like a really bright owl against the patina effect could be kind of fun. So, yeah, I will come back to you because I think you've seen me gesso stuff before. I'll come back to you when it's all done and dusted. Okay, so as I mentioned last night, I went ahead and all last night I've gessoed all the owl white. I've done the clock frame black, so that's looking fabulous. That's all dry. And now I just need to gesso these up in black, so that gritty texture has stuck, which is fabulous. So once it's dry, it's well and truly stuck on there. Even bits that have sort of like not got, they're not stuck to MDF, they've just sort of like stuck to themselves. So it means you can kind of get the, I don't know if you can see that, but you can bring the paste into the gap a little bit. And once it's dry, it's stuck there. So it really is a fantabulous product. So I'm just going to gesso these in black. I know you didn't need to see hours and hours of gessoing, but I'll just do these. I'll not do all of it for you. I think the black took 2 coats, I think I did, of the black stuff, and the white stuff for the owl has had 3 coats. But you can see how that all sort of blends into it. So I'm sort of scruffling, that's a Lynette Jasper word, scruffling it in there so to make sure that I get all the nooks and crannies, and same round where I've put the texture paste, and I'm moving the MDF around so that I'm getting all the edges. I'm not just sort of covering the, I mean, I don't need the back so much because that's going to stick down, but just making sure that all the sides that are going to be seen get a really good coverage. But I will, now that I've sort of roughly explained what I'm doing, because I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. I know how long Dawn's is. And yeah, there's just a lot of steps. It's one of those mixed media projects. It's going to take time, but you don't worry about the time it takes. You just enjoy creating, enjoy crafting, get lost in it. Because that's the best thing about crafting. You can just lose yourself for a good few hours and just enjoy the process. So yeah, I am just now going to pop you on fast forward while I finish painting these last few bits. I've brought the main clock part back in. I'm going to work on this first, and I'm going to sort of try and create that patina effect. Now this obviously has been designed as a dream catcher, so we've got the holes there. I'm not going to be using it as a dream catcher, so I'll be gradually covering those up. I'm using my Pebeo paints, so I've got iridescent gold, I've got blue turquoise, and green, yellow iridescent, cardamom yellow, carmine naphthol, whatever that is, ochre rouge, red ochre, and burnt sienna. So basically I'm wanting to create a patina effect, so I'm going for rust colours, and then I will brighten that up with what do you call it, the greens, the turquoises and stuff like that. So I'm just going to very gradually add bits of colour around this. Again, we may have to go on to fast forward, so we'll see how we go. But these tend to be my go-to colours for creating patina. Oh, now that's a bit heavy. So the dry brushing, it is just a case of trying to build it up gradually, and that was a case of me having too much paint on my brush. But as you can see, we can quite easily just knock that back, she says, just completely repeating her mistake within about 2 seconds. But we're going to be gradually building this up anyway, so it's not a problem. And we will see how we go. So I want a nice rusty effect. As much, because I really fancy going really bright for the owl, and part of me is thinking like turquoise will match the patina. So I'm definitely going to go turquoise. And I'm thinking possibly a hot cerise pink. So I'm, as much as I want the rust effect, I'm going to be working hard not to make it too orangey, I think. So we'll see how it goes. But you can just keep layering and layering and layering and layering till you're happy. But I do think this is, I love this effect. And you can buy loads of Patina Effect kits and pastes. I've never bought one, not that I'm knocking them, I'm sure they're absolutely fabulous, but I don't do enough patina style projects to warrant getting them, and I know that if I bought the tub, I would do a couple of projects and it will have gone off before I had a chance to use the whole thing. So I like to do it this way. And I think for patina, if you just remember, basically you need like a brown rust colour, you need a turquoise blue colour and a bit of white. And if you've got those 3 colours in the project, it's going to look rusted anyway. But I do love the fact you can take a blank bit of MDF and you can make it look like something completely different. That's only one colour we've layered on there. So now I'm going to go for the brighter yellow. And I don't want, as I said, I don't want this too bright because I don't want it to end up looking really orangey, because I'm thinking I'm going to go pink with the owl. But we'll see. So now I'm going to layer up a bit of the yellow. So we're building that in and just mixing it in. And this is the thing with this, it is a very, very gradual, slow process. So don't get carried away like I did. Again, gone a bit heavy-handed, but it's fine. I'm acting quickly so I can wipe it out off just now, but I can also, you can knock back with gesso, so never panic, just go for it. I probably should be knocking it off my rag before putting it on. I'm desperate to see what Dawn's done. I'm pretty sure she'll have gone black and metallic. And she's messaged me, she's like, I hope I won't be on the naughty step. I'm like, no, because there was no brief. I genuinely just wanted to see what we would do. You know, because sometimes when we're working on a project, it's like, oh, well, I could just add this. And as I said, I knew it was something Dawn would like so much. I really wanted her to have free reign to do what she wanted. And I also just wanted to see where it took me. It's like new toys for me as well. So I'm thoroughly enjoying. What I'm really enjoying about this project is there are so many layers to it. So I've just sort of spent a bit of time gessoing the cogs that have got the texture to them. And now they're drying. And by the time this is at a stage where it's needing to dry, those will be dry and I can start working on them. Which I think is really cool, because quite often I would recommend, if you're doing a mixed media project where you know, it's layer upon layer upon layer, that normally when I do that I'm working on 2 or 3 projects at the same time. So as I'm gessoing one project and that's drying, I then sort of move on to the other one, and I'll gesso that one and leave that dry, and then so normally if I'm doing like mixed media filming, I'm filming about 3 or 4 things at the same time, and it's because of that, because a lot of these techniques, you can get your heat gun out and you can speed up the process, and occasionally I will, but I think in general it's best just to let it do its own thing, as it were, like let it dry. And so, as I said, I tend to have a day where I'm prepping all the different things, and then it all sort of comes together. I'm not going to finish this today, even though we do have that luxury of working on the various elements. What I am hoping to do is sort of get it all to the stage where, because I'll be using gel medium to stick this on top of that, and then I'll be using gel medium to layer the owl together and attach the other cogs and things. The difference already when you look at the black, the bit where it's just painted black and the bit where we've scruffled with the various colours. It's fabulous. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get to the stage where I've sort of got the various elements gel mediumed, but then of course I'll need to leave that overnight to get a good effect. I love this iridescent green. I am going to be running out, so I'm going to need to go shopping. Part of me is wondering how easy it is to become a stockist of Pebeo products. I will be looking into that. It's great fun running a shop, I tell you. It's bad for me. It's like going to a craft shop but having the excuse to buy way more than you actually should. I was like buying all the craft kits, and one of them sold out yesterday, and it's like I had to put my own one back in the shop. It's like having a little paddy. It's like, but I want to keep it, because I've literally kept a big massive box of MDF stuff for myself. It's awesome. So I love this one, especially for Patina, because it's an iridescent, so it's kind of got a gold hue, but then we've got that we've got the green tone, which, you know, picks up on that oxidized look where the teal will come in a bit. So I love it for that. It's definitely one of my go-to colours. It's one of my go-to colours for lots of projects, but you can see it's like probably like 2/3 down the paint tube. So yeah, it'll be one that I'll need to restock at some point. But I also love the Pebeo gilding wax, so as I say, I may have to look into it. Sorry, I'm not trying to turn this into a sales pitch, I'm just playing. But see, trying to think of the things that you're as you're playing to talk about, it's just what's popping into my head. I'm just wanting you to have fun. To be honest, you know, you can create this so many ways. And as you know, I'm quite happy to craft with no cost things as well, cardboard and all sorts of bits and bobs. I'm always squirreling stuff away, so I'm getting a bit of that on there. A lot of this at the back might be covered as well, so I need to bear that in mind. But I think that's quite good. I've maybe neglected some of the colour tones, and I'm going between my colours and not cleaning my brush, because it's all going to merge together anyway, so it's fine. Nice. Let's get some of the blue in. I always find when I'm doing patina, it's when I hit the blue, it's when I hit the turquoise and that comes in, that you're suddenly like, yes, that is fantabulous. It's what sort of lifts it, makes it look brighter, but it's also what gives it that really, really fabulous rusty look. So I'm going into the bits where I've put that green gold. And I do like, when I'm doing patina effects and rusty effects, having a little bit of shimmer as well, having that gold, because I do find that it, you know, obviously if this was a real thing that had gone rusty, it would have had some form of metal on it for it to rust in the first place. So I like to sort of give that nod to underneath all of this rust, all of these gorgeous colours, is that shimmer, that the original metal. So I do like to sort of add touches of that in. But yeah, I am liking the direction that we are going with this. I'm going to try and get plenty on the actual cog parts, because that's the bits we're going to see the most. Because by the time we've got this over that, it's what's going on behind it, that's going to be sort of like a nod. We're going to maybe see this a bit more, although I will may cover some of that as well. So I definitely want to go brighter with this blue, this turquoise. And also like combining, so I've got the gold that's iridescent and the green that's iridescent, but the other paints aren't. And again, I quite like that for creating the whole patina look. It's sort of like the combo of the precious metal and the rusty effects. But we are getting there. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it. I'm going to have so much fun today. Got quite a bit of filming to do today, which is good. I also really, really, really need to be getting on with doing some prep. Because I'm going down to the craft store again in just over a week, so and I've not even stamped the images out yet, let alone coloured them and made something with them yet. So we could be last minute crafting on the road again. That seems to happen quite a lot. Isn't it luscious? I mean, I just love that. It's like, would you ever know in a gazillion years, I mean obviously if you closely inspected it, that didn't look like real rusted something that you found at the bottom of the sea. It's just fabulous. Love, 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 love. I also am quite tempted to put one of the Crackle Gels on this back bit. So I might do that. Which, my theory of having everything sort of ready to be glued today, that might prevent that. Mind you, if I put it on thin and I work on the other pieces, I still might be able to get it sort of gel medium together, even if it's late tonight, so that I can work on it tomorrow. Look. Oh, love. Right, the other thing, I might put a tiny bit of the gold in. The other thing that I think is really perfect for bringing your patina style to life is to add white. So I'm just getting a tiny bit of that gold in. Again, it's me, I like that sort of nod to the fact that once upon a time there lived a precious metal clock, and then it died. Not quite, but you know. Right, I'm going to go at, see if I've got another little stipply brush. I am using stipple brushes for this. I just want tiny bits of white, again especially near the teal, because that's where the most oxidization would happen. And if you think about like your distress oxides, when you start adding water into them, it sort of breaks into that chalky white look, and obviously the same oxidization process happens when things are rusting. So again, you sort of get that white break of the colours as well. So I do like to also just make sure that I add in a tiny little bit of white. Again, I think that's just one of those things that sort of lifts it to another level. I've maybe gone a bit heavy-handed there, but that's fine. Any bits that I think I've gone a bit heavy-handed with, I will go back in and we will do that. I will add probably a bit more teal into that, so I'm just going to keep going with that. Oh, I'm having so much fun! I'm desperate to see Dawn's video. Not just to see how she's done, but also just honestly, I really, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Dawn has to do this. Dawn has to have this. And I seriously just bought it for Dawn. And you know when like when you've got in your head, oh, this person will love this, but then you kind of like start, because I kept sort of messaging her going, it's coming, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I've bigged it up too much, and she'd be like, no. But then when I got her reaction, it's like, yay, she loves it as much as I thought she would. It made me very happy. It makes me happy. Right, so I think that's as on there. I maybe should have put a bit more white on the coggy bits. Very good for, I'm probably going to end up with like a sore arm tomorrow and think, why have I got such a sore arm? It's been pounding me cogs. Right. So what I'm going to do now is just go off camera, and I'm going to build up the patina effect the same on this. I'm probably not going to put quite as much effort into it because I also plan on lifting this with gilding wax as well. And then while I'm there, I'm going to look out some of the Crackle Gels, and I think I might just put little strokes of Crackle on that, which could be quite cute. I'll see you soon. So I have pulled out Crackle Gels in sepia and turquoise because I think that's going to suit the colours that I have down. What's fabulous about these is they're a one-step crackle, so all you've got to do is spread it on and leave it. The other thing is they're coloured, which is fabulous. So you can get some really interesting effects. I'm deliberately not going too thick, and they're also semi-translucent. So I'm putting this on, and yes, we've got that brown tone. I'm sort of sticking to the same colours as to where I put it, but I'm going over onto the other colours. So like there's brown there, but then there's a bit of turquoise under there, but you can still see that turquoise through it. I don't know if you can catch that. So we can still see that under there, which is fabulous. So I'm just going to find a few different areas to put this in. So it's fabulous because you get an extra element. We're going to have that crackled element, which is an extra feature, an extra texture. But the fact you've got the colours, and then you've got obviously, and then you've got the fact it's semi-translucent, it just creates so much interest. I am not spreading this on hugely thickly, mostly because I've got this to stick on top, so I'm sort of trying to think ahead. Yeah, so the cracks aren't going to be quite as thick as if I put it on more thickly. It's also because I'm sort of wanting to maintain the colours as well, the colours that I've put underneath. So yeah, so I've got, that's the sepia one, and then I'm going to pop some of the turquoise down as well. So I'll get, I mean, they're just glorious. These are one of my, the first product I bought off Pretty Gets Gritty. And I know with Angie B as well, she loves all her texture pastes and stuff, and I was like, seriously, you have to go and try this stuff. And then she bought a pot and she's addicted as well. It's honestly one of the best things in the world. So I'm just grabbing some of this, and I'm deliberately blending it into the brown as well, just to create some very, sort of to mix the colours, but hopefully to create some nice interesting effects. And then we'll have a bit of the blue up here, I think, as well. So now all we have to do is just leave that to do its own thing, and we are good to go. But yeah, how great is that looking? Okay, I have also pulled out my Pebble gilding wax and a little bit of my Nouveau Mousse in copper, because I don't have the copper gilding wax. So I've gone with that. I should probably have I've just spread that into here, but I should have put that on a journal page. Actually, I'm going to scrape it off and stick it in a journal page now because I'm that sad. Okay, so I've put a bit of the Nouveau Mousse onto my mat because I had an incident. I did a live once and I got out my black Nouveau Mousse, which was one of my favourite things, and the mould on it was incredible. And do you know what's weird? I've had my fingers, I mean they say not to put your fingers in it, but I've had my fingers in this copper one and the same thing didn't happen. So yeah, I have to say it's kind of put me off Nouveau Mousses, but I'm going to use up what I've got left. But I really must sort of get round to getting the copper Pebeo gilding wax. So I'm just putting a little bit of copper on, and then it's mostly going to be gold. This has had the sort of same dry brushing treatment as the other stuff had, but I didn't go quite as full blown, partly because I wanted to maintain some of the black, because that's going to create a bit of a shadow once I start to get this and start buffing it and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's kind of why I didn't go quite as much onto that. Right, so I'm going to grab that and then let's get that. I love this stuff. This is the best stuff in the world. I've honestly had mine forever. I bought it before my daughter was born. A long time before my daughter was born, and she's 9. Will be 10 in March, and I've literally used it. I mean, if you watch my channel regularly, you see that this often gets pulled out. I've also ran, pre-COVID days, ran classes and had entire classes take gilding wax out of this pot, and yeah, it's survived all of that, and there's still loads left, so it's great. And what's fabulous about it is it's a furniture grade product, so it's designed for gilding your furniture. So a little goes a long way, because obviously if you're trying to do a whole table with it, you need it to last, and also it polishes up, which is fab. You can get a real spark, a real shine on it. So I'm sort of blending it into the copper. Some bits I'm barely putting any on, I'm just sort of tickling it, and we've got sort of a bit of a gold hint, and other bits I've put it on quite thick, so it gives it more of a solid. So like there we've got a more solid gold look, and there it's a bit more just a nod. And again, it's sort of in my head, it's that nod to the fact it was gold, but some of it's got a bit worn. Some of it's got a bit worn away, and some of it's still shining bright. So I'm just going to do that, pop the lid on it, and then we'll give that a little buff. So I go in here now and just wipe that with my cloth. We're going to lose some of the copper stuff because that's not designed to buff up, but it's okay, I can live with that. It's just going to look a bit chipped. But we just need to give this a buff, and that's going to become really, really shiny. Well, it's going to look like furniture because it's furniture grade, so it's going to look like the real thing rather than something that we've just painted ourselves. And that is the thing of mixed media, isn't it? Where it's like we take what's the same. Well, okay, this MDF kit isn't rubbish, but we can take anything and turn it into something completely different, turn it into something really valuable. Right, so I think that's me done the whole thing now. So that's it all polished up, and then eventually, once we've got this drying, it shouldn't take too long because I've not put it on too thick, then we've got that. But I think having that gold, it's going to, although it's rusted, it's going to stand out from what's behind it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera, and the same patina technique that I used to build this, I'm going to do on the rest of the cogs. I'm going to let this crackle, and yeah, we'll maybe assemble that, or we could get started on the owl. But yeah, I will be back soon. Okay, so this is dried now. I don't know if you can see that crackle. I can't see if that's picking up on the camera or not, but it's just fabulous. Okay, so I did a little close-up shot there because I was wanting to try and show how amazing this Crackle was. What I am going to do is just come back in with some of this copper Nouveau Mousse. It might have dried up a little bit. Yeah, I think it has. So I'll get another little sticking my fingers in. Do you know what, this is near the end anyway. Absolutely shouldn't do that, but there you go. And I'm just going to tickle it on some of these elements so that this is, do you know what, this is actually on its way out. It's very over dried anyway. As I said, even with me sticking my fingers in it, I'm not getting much from it. Right, just trying to get some of it that's malleable enough. And this is why you should use your products, because they dry out and they run out. And that's why I said earlier about, like, I've looked at these patina kits and think they look fabulous, and like, I love creating steampunk, so you know, I'm sure a kit like that I would really enjoy, but I just know that it would be gone off before I would be able to make the most of it. So I'm just trying to rub in enough. I don't really want to take away from the colour, but I'm just trying to push some of this colour into the cracks so that we get that crackle coming through. Just a little, I mean, we can see it anyway, but just so that it's a little bit more obvious. What I might do is do a close up again now that I've put that on, and see if you see it a bit better. Again, it looks amazing in real life, but I can't see if I'm getting the camera to pick it up. But now that we've got a little bit of colour just filling those gaps, you can see the crackle a little bit. It's just fabulous. Right, now I'm going to pop it all together. Okay, so that's it now. What I'm trying to work out is my owl is obviously going to sit in here. So I want to be able, and I want the thing at 12 o'clock. I want to make sure that I'm able to see those cogs when the owl goes down. And I also want my 12 to be on a solid. So we've got those gaps, but as I said, I don't particularly want mine to be a dream catcher. So I'm just trying to work out where would be the best place to stick it so that I've got my solid number and still seeing the cogs. I don't think it's going to make much difference with the, unless we sort of come down to the side a little bit, which still isn't going to make any much difference. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to double check that. Now I'm going to use just this glue just because it's more, I can get it on those thinner edges. I am going to be lathering up a gel medium to stick the other cogs onto it, so gel medium will slip through as well, and so there will be both the gel medium and this Nouveau glue sticking it together. I'm just looking at the time, it's like literally 1 minute to 3 and the bell is going to go. My daughter does sort of walk part the way up herself now, so I can get away with leaving a couple of minutes after 3 because the school's literally at the bottom of the road. But she does have to cross a road, which is why I still sort of go halfway down. So I just need to make sure that obviously I don't miss her. Right, so we'll pop that about there, I think. I'm going to stick that there. Okay, and now look how glorious these cogs are. I mean, this is why I love using the marble paste with it, because that grittiness and texture, you could just imagine that's been stuck at the bottom of the ocean for ages. If there was a dodgy edit there, it's because my what do you call it, camera ran out of battery, but it was probably just as well because I did really need sort of a kick up the behind to actually do the school run instead of sitting playing with pretty things. My daughter is actually a priority. I'm so distracted. Right, I definitely want to cover these holes because I don't really want to use this as a dream catcher. So I am going to make sure that I place these cogs over it. yeah, so I'm going to put some of this on now. So what I was saying earlier about the fact that I'm putting gel medium, I'm sticking gel medium onto these cogs to stick them down onto this, and that'll seep through, and so the original bit that we glued with just plain glue will sort of get attached as well, so it'll all hold it together really nicely. I'm just trying to think, so I kind of want it coming away. I'm just trying to see what areas are actually going to touch MDF below it, to make sure that I adhere it to the right place. So I am, oops, right, so that's, as I said, it's going to stick, and then that gel medium is going to traverse the layer that we started off with and hold everything down like I just said. Right, so we've got the owl, which I may put on a slightly underneath. So I'm wondering whether to, I'm just trying to work out how I want. I'm going to stick some of these cogs on now, and I'm going to save some to embellish with a bit later, I think. So the reason that we use gel medium is because it literally sticks anything to anything. If you were to use a glue gun, it gives you an immediate adhesion, which allows you to sort of carry on, so quite often I'll opt for that if I do tend to put gel medium down as well. I need to do this in a way that's going to cover that hole. Right, yeah, I honestly can't seem to craft and talk at the same time. My brain is not wanting to do it today. But gel medium, the reason it's so good is that it has an element of flex to it. So even when it dries and it becomes stronger, it lasts, whereas like your glue gun will become brittle and solid. So then that means that it can very easily sort of snap and ping off. So because the gel medium has an element of flex to it, it's got a little bit of movement. I'm actually just going to turn that round because we've got more solid bit of MDF there that we can really whack a big lot of gel medium onto. So it's worth having for that, because if you think about it, if you think about like your doors, or you know, like when you first build a house they tell you not to wallpaper for a while, and it's because there's an element of movement in these things and they need to be allowed to move to a certain extent, and that's the same with your mixed media project. There's going to be an element of movement, and if you don't want it falling apart, then gel medium is the way to go. I am absolutely loving this. Right, as I said, I do want to sort of keep a few cogs so that I've got them available to, once I've put the owl down, I've got a few more available to embellish. I'm just trying to make an interesting shape, and as I said, this will literally stick anything to anything, so even though we've got all of those sort of texture pastes and things going on and the uneven surface, it should still grab and work really well. So I think I'm going to pop that. Oops, it will be a little bit delicate at this stage, but I will be leaving this overnight to dry. All that, so I'm liking that so far. And then, as I said, we'll have our owl about there, so we've got quite a bit of interest going on down there. And then I want to build up some of that similarly up here, so that we've got, as I said, plenty of interest and bits and pieces going on. I'm actually just going to stick that there because that's where it's going to be adhering to. It doesn't matter, gel medium will dry clear, so it's fine. We can resolve that and it'll just be another little texture at the end of the day. It's all fabulous. So I'm going to pop that down, and then we're just going to leave this to dry, and I'm going to start working on the owl. So as I said, because I'm putting great big dollops on it like that, it will take overnight. It will be an overnighter, but it's one of those projects that's just what it's going to have to be, and I'm quite happy to give it its time. It's like, I love it, so I want it to last. So I would rather do it in a way that's going to preserve it for longer. I'm raising that up slightly. Still, but that's the thing, you can raise it up. I mean, I could go in with cardboard and stuff, but then I'm liable to see that, so I'm actually just going to build up the gel medium even higher. Oh, my connection to my camera's lost, so I'm not quite sure how we're going. There we go. That's that there, and then just take that away. And see, I probably might do some extra work on these cogs as well at some point, because they've not had gilding wax or anything. So that's that as the basic shape, and then we've got the owl, which hopefully will... Oh, I've ended up losing my 12 o'clock. Never mind. Oh no, it's just that it might be more. Yeah, that's fine. So that'll go sort of like that. And I've still got 3 cogs left to play with once the owl's down. So let's decorate the owl. Okay, so, right to the owl. And this is honestly like a crazy jigsaw. So we've got the back piece there, and then you've kind of got that kind of goes underneath there and will be the background colour to your eyes. Then you've got like this piece that sits there, which kind of make it look like he's wearing glasses. So it's gradually built up like that, and then we've got all these separate little bits which become the kind of breastplate of him, and so it all looks like it's sort of been nuts and bolts together sort of thing. So I love it. I am sort of keeping this picture as reference because we're going to have to work from the back to the front. So I'm going to start on the base, and what I'm thinking is that I'm going to sort of stick with the brown colours for like the edge of the owl and maybe these sort of bits here, and then I'm going to give him like tealy greeny eyes and a teal top hat and a pink middle belly sort of thing, I think. If it goes wrong and I don't like it, there is always gesso. Gesso is your best friend. So yeah, so there's going to be a fair few stages to this. So, oh, that's quite a nice reddy colour. Let's get some more of that out. What one's that? That is Carmen Naftal. Quite like that. Right, so we may have to sort of speed up bits of this just because it's going to take quite a bit of effort, and there's going to be quite a lot of shading and things to do. Now, all of these bits are going to be covered, so I'm mostly needing to make sure that I've got the depth of colour around the edges here that's going to be seen, and these bottom bits just there. So rather than waste the paint, because I'm going to actually make it up as is. If you're being particularly frugal, which under normal circumstances I probably would, but I just really want to enjoy this kit. I can't remember, I think it's about £9, which is ridiculously cheap for the amount of MDF in it. Honestly, it really is. So yeah, I really am just in the mood for playing, so I just want to see what is going to occur. So that's my plan. As I said, there's going to be quite a lot of painting involved, thankfully, because as I said, it's again that stage thing. We've got this layer to do, and then we've got like these layers to do, and then we've got the top layers to do, that we can kind of sort of paint this, and while that's drying, be going on to the next stage. So as I said, there's quite a lot to do, so I'm going to pop you on fast forward while I'm painting. If I think of anything in particularly that's interesting that I think will be of note to you, then I will let you know. And also sort of like, I'll probably put it back on when it goes into like deepening the shadows and things like that. But yeah, I will see you in a moment. pop it onto real time for a second. So, quite often when we darken things up, I darken it pulling it in from the edges, but I've realised that these pieces, this crazy jigsaw thing that we've got going on, these are sort of going to come down here, in which case the shadow would be behind these bits, so it's this inner bit that's actually going to be darker than that outer bit. I probably will still give that distress ink treatment because I'll not be able to help myself, but I'm just sort of making sure that these bits that are going to be underneath, like these bits are going to be underneath bits, that they're darker in there, because that is what will make sense. So it's like we almost need the shadow to be in here, not there. So that, I just sort of realised that as I was going. So that's what I'm doing. Also, you're going to see those bits of eyes. So at the minute the paintwork doesn't look great. It takes a lot of effort to put paintwork together and the shadows to look good. So that's why I'm just leaving what's not going to be seen a mess, and I'm sort of concentrating on the areas that will be affected. So like for here, for example, we're going to have quite a bit of dark because we're going to have the shadow from this bit there, but we're also going to have it from that bottom bit there. So I want to make sure that this particular bottom area is darker than the rest of it. Hopefully that makes sense, and I'll pop you back on fast forward. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous is this? Oh, I love it. So this is us at this stage, and now I want to add to the depth of colour by just inking around the edges a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sort of come in with a similar colour, and then I'm going to come in with black soot. I've got peacock feathers here. Now this one here, I think the pieces are meant to be the eyebrows, I'm pretty sure, but it's gone quite green and I didn't want that. But I thought it would look quite cool as being part of the hat. So I have kept it blue. I mean, I don't suppose this really matters too much because I'm going to be putting black on it as well. But you know me, I like to add a little bit of extra depth because I just do think it's important. So I'm going to do that, and then I am going to grab the little one. So this is from a black, and I'm sort of just going to go in and just try and catch the edges a little bit. So this will sort of grunge it up slightly. It gives me my shadows, which you know I'm obsessed with. I like everything to have shades and tones. But it will also just sort of give it that slightly grungier feel, which considering it's steampunk is quite good. So I have pulled out peacock feathers for the teal bits, picked raspberry for the pink bits, walnut stain for like the main thing, and probably the claws, although I might pull in right persimmon as well. This is probably going to take me a wee little minute, so what I'm going to do is I'll pop you on fast forward while I do that part, and also while I stick it all together, which I will be doing with gel medium, and then we'll just leave that and we'll see how we get on after that. How good does that look? That was awesome. It's a bit like doing a jigsaw. It's almost like Angie described it, because she bought this kit and then did a review, like an unboxing, and it was like decoupage but with the MDF. But it was a bit like doing a jigsaw, and it was so relaxing and very nice. So it was good fun. So I've just now got to let that dry. I'm not sure if it's too delicate to attach to the other part or not. We'll have a little look. Because then it could be drying overnight and it saved me another drying stage. But look! Oh, I love it, and it's so how I had it in my head. It's like I really wanted it to be steampunk, but to have a bit of bright vibrancy. Another thing that I think would be awesome, I can't do it because I don't have it, would be maybe to pour resin in the eyes. I think that would look amazing. I might suggest that to Angie because I know she has resin. I don't. So, but how cool would that be to like fill the eyes with resin? I think that would be amazing. I almost feel like I need to go and buy some just to try it. Right, I'm going to go and get my cogs and then we'll see what we can do. So these are my cogs. As you can see, these are solid. You're like, nothing's going anywhere. You can see that the glue gel, it dries clear. This, I mean, I put masses on, so there's still like a wee bit to dry there and behind there. You can see that crystal clear. So that is the beauty of the gel medium. That's the Pretty Gets Gritty one, which is a gloss one. So a gloss one will dry clear. If you go for a matte one, there's a chance that you might end up with a milkiness. But how fab does that look? Now, I'd done it, and yeah, see that was, I kind of got lost, I lost my way. And I've done it more horizontal, but I really do sort of want it like that. So I think I'm just going to have to live with the fact that my clock's going to be slightly skewy. But love, 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 love. I'm just trying to think where to put him, because I like him up here, but we're going to have difficulty with him falling, like the surface being slightly uneven, unless we maybe bring another cog in. I don't know that I want another cog there. It's just, he's higher here than he is there. I'm just wondering if I could layer a bit of cardboard or something. Oh, see, this is why I maybe should let him dry first, because I just knocked that. So I could have it in the centre, and he'd probably sit quite nice there, but I fancy him slightly off centre. I fancy him there, but we're going to have to I'll maybe see if I can grab a bit of cardboard and see if that'll fix the situation. So I'm kind of liking having it like this. So that means just popping a bit of cardboard there. It's still slightly unstable, but by the time it's dried, it should be absolutely fine. I tell you, cardboard is your friend for so many things. So let's just slather a bit on there. I'm trying to make sure that I don't knock the positioning of my owl too much as I'm doing this. So I might just have to double check that everything's all in a line. It's fine if it knocks out at the minute because it's going to take this gel medium a while to dry, so it does give you wiggle room, which is fab. But it's all good. But I'm so excited, I love it. I'm absolutely delighted with how this has gone. Right, and then I need some down the back here, quite a bit. To do that, as I said, I'm trying to do this in a way. I probably should have waited for it to dry, but it's just that if I do that, I'll be sticking it again tomorrow and then I'll have to wait for it to dry again, whereas if I do it now, it's one lot of drying time, which appeals. Right, so I think I'm going to pop that there. Oh yes. And then we've got a few spare cogs. Where's my, yeah. So I think we need, oops. There we go, don't move. Right, I think I want one on the little owl. And then I'd also like more coming down. So I think we'll stick one up there. And then I could also possibly get real cogs from my stash and put some of them on. But I might wait till we're at embellishing stage. For that. It will mean like gel medium again and waiting again, but you know, that's fine. I can live with that. Let's see, I do kind of want one overlap in the actual owl because I think that would be quite cool. So stick one there, like so, and then I think I might have that one, you can barely see on the screen, that one there, down there. So I'll stick that. This will be fine. It's just a bit wibbly wobbly at the minute, but once it's all dry, it will be absolutely solid, as you can see from the other stuff that I've done. But it's just gonna be a little bit delicate till then. Let's get absolutely, got loads of it on there. There we go. And I'm not too bothered. I was quite neat about the owl. You might have seen me sort of clearing away some of the extra spillages with my paintbrush. Not too bothered here because we've got all this texture that we added with the marble paste, and that'll just add texture there, so I can sort of go in and dab that with a paintbrush to match the rest of it, and it'll be absolutely fine. So we're all good. So I'm just going to stick that one down there, and then we will leave all of that now until tomorrow, so I will see you soon. Oh my goodness, this is just looking amazing. I'm so happy, absolutely love it. Love how we've got the bright colours with the rustic colours. I don't think there's much more I want to do now. I've taken my Posca pen in gold. I thought I had a silver one, to be honest. I would have liked to have done this in silver, but I don't have a silver one. And what I am wanting to do is, this has lots of little rivets and you know, like screw heads and bits and pieces like that, little bits of extra detail that are on the MDF, and I kind of want to emphasise them there so that you can see them, so that they look like proper screw heads, which is why I would have liked to have done them in silver, but I cannot find a silver pen, so we're going with a gold one. But to be honest, we've got gold with the rest of the project anyway, for the patina and things like that, so I think we're alright. I might bring some Crackle Enamel for some of those bits, because I've bought myself some in teal and in pink but I don't know. So I'm just literally going to, mind you, there's not loads. I thought there was going to be loads to do, but actually we might be alright because there's not. It's mostly just on this owl. And as I said, it's just a little nod so that we can see these little details a bit better. I'm not sure how well that's actually showing. This pen isn't the best, it's quite an old one. But we'll live with it, it'll be alright. So, yeah, I'm just doing this. I so cannot wait to see what Dawn has done with hers. I know she was very, very excited. She was wanting to put her video up last week. It's like, no, sorry, second Saturday is next week. Just as well though, because I'm now filming last minute. I mean, I was filming well in advance, but now it's the night before and incredibly late. It's about 11:30 at night and I'm doing this, but I have had to, in all honesty, I have had to focus on things like prep. Not prepped either, and I'm leaving in 2 days. So yeah, it's all going well. The joys. So, and it's these little things that, I don't know, they do take a while, but I find them the nice little details that just help to build layer upon layer upon layer, which adds interest. As I said, I would be really interested, if I owned resin, I would absolutely be attempting to fill those eyes with the resin. I think that could look amazing. So I may have to now invest in resin and another one of these kits so that I can do that, because I think it would look really cool. So yeah, I'm just going to keep, there's a few bits on the hat, so I'm just going to do those and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so I really fancy playing with some of my Frantage stuff, which is basically just embossing powders but you get to stir little bits of things into them. Now I find personally that I quite like to do this with glycerine. It allows the embossing powder to stick really easily, and obviously there's no way we're going to manage to heat from behind with all of this layers and layers of MDF and all the other stuff that's going on there, so that's just not really going to work, I don't think. I don't even know if this will work, but we'll find out. So it's cool, so you have embossing powders, and then as the embossing powders melt, they hold on to the bits and pieces that you've poured into them. So I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time because it does, it does float off everywhere, and I'm not quite sure how well this is actually going to work on this, but I just thought it would be an interesting texture. And it's one of those things, every time I do a mixed media project I think, oh, I'd really love to do that, and I've never put it on the list because I don't think about it till I'm halfway through. So then you just heat that up, and then that should melt. The embossing powder should melt. It's actually doing really well. So this is why I love using the glycerine for it, because it holds it really, really well. And you tend to find when you're doing this technique that everything can all fly off quite a bit. That's worked quite well actually. I'm going to put a bit, I think it's melted, yeah. It's hard to see. I'm quite heavy handed with the glycerine, but I think I wish I'd gone for a more copper colour, so I'm going to pop some more of the copper colours there. I just think it's an added extra texture. So let's have some of the copper, and then I think we've got, this is like a teal and a gold, which will work as well, and then there's just different flakes and things. We've got some rusty kind of coloured flakes. I'll stick those in. And what I will do is just pop them on a few different areas. And you'll be able to see it's moving a bit more because there's big chunks of flakes that fell on that there. Yes, and the embossing powder just gradually melts. And as it melts, as I said, it holds those inclusions. I've been throwing loads of techniques at this project, and don't feel you have to have all of these things to make something like this. You really don't at all. To be honest, we could have got away with just sort of using the paints to build up. I've gone quite heavy-handed with those mica flakes and they're not going to stick, so I'm just going to pull some of them off without burning my fingers, she says. Yeah, so you don't actually, we could get away with creating most of this project just with the rust coloured paints, but to be honest, I'm just having a lovely time, and because I'm having a lovely time, I'm just kind of keeping going with different bits and pieces and seeing what happens. So never be put off thinking, oh, I don't have all those hundreds of gazillions of products that they have, so I can't make something like that. This was looking great as it was. It's just that I have the desire to play a bit more. So just use what you have. Use what you have in your stash. It's just that I happen to have these in the stash, and it's one of those things that I have them in my stash. I loved them when I bought them, and I don't get them out nearly enough, and they are a fabulous product for mixed media. So I just thought, while I thought about it, I'm going to do it. Now obviously you can see this is going to be a slow process, and I think even if I put it on fast forward, I'm not quite sure how much you're actually going to see. So I'm just going to keep doing this in a few different places, and then I'll come back once we've done that. Okay, so I got well and truly carried away there. I was just going to do a little bit, but it's kind of all down here. I've got a bit over here, a bit up here, a bit over here, but I love it. I just think it adds a great bit of interest. The way this has worked out, I'm not loving it. So I'm going to go with the original idea that I had. Just stole another one of these from... I chose some colours when I first got them. And now because it's sitting there, I was like, oh, but I don't have the colour I want, so I'll have this colour. So what I'm going to do is put some of this Crackle Enamel on. Now this is awesome stuff. The easiest way for me to describe this is it's a bit like the Nouveau drops in the way that you apply it and in the way that it settles. But it crackles. So it's a bit like the Crackle Gel that we used earlier. It is semi-transparent, so when the colours that are underneath it will shine through, which is awesome. But we will also get this amazing crackle effect. So you can kind of draw with it and be quite specific. I maybe needed to be a bit more specific with it, but you know, it's fine. I can live with that. And I'm just going to pop some dots down there. So I'm getting the tiniest dot here, and I just think it could be quite fun. And the gold will still be an effect that will come through. Oops. We'll still see that, and I just think it's going to be an added texture and bit of interest. I'm still needing to just learn to drop it a little bit more consistently, but it's good. It's slightly runnier than the Nouveau drops, but as I said, I don't know how else to describe it, because it's like, I know when I first saw them I was kind of like, well, why do I need that when I've got the Crackle Gels, which I love. You know, I'm obsessed by those. But when I realised how specific you can be with it, it's like, oh yes. as I said, with this sort of project, the fact that it's going to be raised like the Nouveau drops go, it's going to be raised, so it's going to give that sort of raised rivet feel, like there is a real rivet in there, but then it's going to crack, which is going to give it a fabulous aged look, and I just think that is such a great idea. So I'm going to continue doing these little dots all round, and then there's the ones on the hat, and then to be honest I probably don't need to leave it overnight to crackle, but considering it's 5 to 12 I will leave it overnight. And I will film the last little bit in the morning when I just show you what it's all done, and yeah, then I'll be editing and uploading for the rest of Saturday. So I'll see you in the morning. Okay, I'm back before things have dried, but I was just thinking I've been going on about how much I would love it if I could fill this with resin, and I can't really fill the whole thing with this, but I just thought I could probably fill these little bits here. That's not taking too much, and I could fill those, and they are going to have enormous cracks in it because it's going to be so thick. But that could be fun. So yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, back on again, 600 edits here. I then decided to get my Crackle Gel out, and I've brushed the eyes, and then I've filled the centre part of the eyes with this. And now that I've started on the crackle, I've become addicted. So I've taken out the tropical colour now, and I'm just going to paint it over. I've painted it over the beak, and I'm just going to paint it over the toes as well. And then I might just grab areas down here as well, because why not? I'm having fun, quite frankly, and yeah, it's a case of why not. I love this stuff, and I love the fact that there's so many colours. I love the fact it's semi-transparent, so we're not losing the work that we've got going on underneath, and it means that I can have fun with it. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh well, I could do that and I could do this, and it's like now I'm just painting with it. So where I've painted it, it'll give it really thin cracks. It's also going to give it a slight gloss finish, which I think is going to help that I will sort of stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to pop some bits in there. I've tried to put some, you know, just near these bits here, trying to put a bit more thickness to them so that we get a variation in the size of the crackle. These bits, actually those are quite dry, so I think I am going to bring in some of, we should have a pink one as well, I think. I'm pretty sure it comes in every colour of the rainbow, it really does. Yeah, so we've got this one here, fuchsia. And I'm just going to brush some of these panels as well with it. I'm not going to put it over the entire panel, I'm just going to put it in little areas, and again it's going to give that sort of peeled paint crackled effect. So I hadn't realised I was doing it, but now that I've had a look I can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm sort of almost putting it in the shadow areas, and that's quite good because it's going to emphasise that, and it's going to be my whole shade and tone thing that I bang on about all the time. It's going to do that. Oh, I'm having so much fun, I really am. That's fab. And now that I've done that, I'm going to need to do the hat, aren't I? So we will have one turquoise. See, there's one of these for every colour. Actually, we could, what happens if I put, because it's semi-transparent, I've just put pink there, and it looks fine. So you can have lots of fun. So let's just emphasise a bit of the hat as well. Why not? Right. And now I'm definitely going to go to bed. After I've crackled these eyebrows. these eyebrows that I've also turned into a hat, because why not? I fancied them blue. Right, that is definitely me. Definitely, definitely. I will not be back on now until tomorrow. I'm absolutely sure of it. See you in the morning. Good morning. That's good morning. Look, I'm still in my dressing gown. I need to finish this off. Wow, this is pretty cool. I'm loving the texture of the eyes. It's not dried at all how I would expect it to. It's sort of like sunken in and crackled, but it looks cool. The bits here are fab because the gold was underneath them. So it's really given it a two-tone look. I am desperately trying to see what I have done with my gold gilding wax, and it's somewhere in the mess that is this craft room. And I can't quite find it just now, so we might be not doing the gilding wax. I was going to put a bit of the black on anyway because it's just going to emphasise that crackle, and I always think black in a project is good because it gives you that contrast between light and dark, and it makes your brighter colours look brighter. Not that we've particularly got really bright colours because we're going for a steampunk vibe, but it is really going to emphasise that crackle. So the black, I'm just allowing that black to sort of run in amongst the crackle. I can see that it's definitely emphasising it a little bit. So I'm just going to let it find, we've gone a bit heavy handed there, but I'm just going to let it find the grooves. And what I can do is just lift it a bit with my cloth. Because as I said, I don't want big black blobs as it were, but I do want to be able to see that gorgeous crackle effect as soon as we've got it. It's because it's there, but it's quite subtle because we painted it on here. The cracks are very, very thin, so they are there, but because this is like a fluid thing, it will just find those cracks and settle in them. I don't know if you can kind of see that when I put it down, it just sort of travels down the rest of them. Yeah, I think I'm happy. Honestly, I'm so excited it's today now. It's like, I feel like I've been waiting ages. I think because we do these challenge every second and fourth Saturday, but there was a fifth Saturday last month, so there was like an extra Saturday somewhere, and it's just meant that there was a 3-week gap between showing videos. So it's like, normally it works out every other week obviously, but last week it felt like it should have been a Dawn and Julia create, but it wasn't. And I think we were both so excited because, as I said, I had it in my head and I was ordering it and I was having to wait for it to arrive, and then I sent it to Dawn. So I'm excited that it's finally today. I am leaving things till last minute, although it is like 8 o'clock in the morning right now, so it's not. I'm just picking up I don't want big blobs of black, but I am liking the effect that this is giving. Yeah, so I honestly can't wait. And then I'm doing a reveal of the latest stamps tonight, and it took me ages to try and work out a time because I was like, oh, I don't want to clash with the Dawn and Julia create. I really, at 6 o'clock, I want to be sitting down and watching what Dawn's done. I mean, like, I know her reaction in the like, she messaged me because I kind of kept saying to her, oh, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it, I promise. It's not a cruel one this time. I haven't been mean. And then, as I said, I just suddenly got this message going, I love you! So I was like, yeah, she's excited. But I can't actually wait to see. I think she's thought outside the box as usual with Dawn. Because the fact that she thought she might possibly be on the naughty step when there was pretty much no brief other than use the product. It's because I wanted to just see what direction we took it in when we were given free rein, because quite often in our challenges we don't sort of maybe get to take it in the full direction that we would naturally go in. So I kind of really wanted to do that with this project. But I think the fact that even despite that, Dawn was like, oh, I hope I'm not on the naughty stick, makes me think that she's done something amazing. I mean, she would have done something amazing anyway, but it makes me think that she's totally thought outside the box and done something even more amazing than I can imagine. So you definitely have to make sure you pop across to Dawn. I should be able to put it in a bit heavier handed down here because the cracks should be bigger because I applied it slightly thicker. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm maybe going to pop you on fast forward because I think it's going to be a little bit like shadowing. But it's just, I think it's worth it. It's emphasising the cracks, it's creating a shadow. I think it's worth it. But I think it might take me a while to get round the entire owl. So what I will do is I will pop this on fast forward. Up to try and show you some of that texture and some of that crackle. As you can see, the black sort of ran into all the cracks, which just emphasising that a bit more. Absolutely love it. Right, I will show you the full piece. Okay, so that is it all done. I did contemplate putting some words on it, but I'm not sure that I want words on it. I'm just going to leave it in all its glory as it is. I have had a blast doing this. It's so much fun. I've bought so many of these Mad Hatter kits that I can't wait to gradually work my way through them. So yeah, I think you might be seeing them on my channel quite a bit. So if you have enjoyed this, please do consider liking and subscribing because there'll be lots more to come. And of course, more importantly, please do pop over and see what Dawn's done. I absolutely cannot wait to see what she has done. Anyway, thank you so much, and I will be back with some more crafty goodness very, very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye!